Hi, morning everyone. Happy Saturday. I actually feel really nervous about this, and I don't know why I feel nervous about this. But at the beginning of the week I posted to say that I was going to come on and share a bit more of my lipedema journey. And all week long, I don't even know why, but I've been like, oh, what I'm going to say, what if I say too much, what if I... all that negative chat in my mind about why I shouldn't do it. Or why I can't, just stuff stopping me doing it, which is just crazy. Anyway, I decided that this morning I woke up and I thought, stop thinking about it, just do it. Because I feel I need to share a little bit of my journey, because it is Lipoedema Awareness Month. And not that that should matter, we should talk about it all the time, but it's particularly poignant, I suppose, to talk about it now and share a bit of the knowledge. And the real reason why I want to do that is because, well, it's for lots of different reasons. The first thing is because I think knowledge is power, and the more I share means the more you know, and the more you know means the more you might share, and then the better we are, because we all know and we're all sharing. And the second reason is maybe because it helps you understand me a bit better and what I've gone through, and understand my condition a bit more. And also because the main reason is because I've spent my whole life confused, upset, not knowing, frustrated, a million emotions about this. And I just keep saying to myself, if only someone knew, and if only someone had said to me. And then I just think to myself, I've got to say, because someone might be going through it now and not knowing that this is what they have. And it might just change someone else's life. So that's the real reason why I want to share my journey. What I will say is that it's funny, because I thought I wouldn't have an awful lot to say, but the more I start talking, the more I'm like, I want to talk about this and I want to talk about that. I'm going to try and do it in short chunks, but what I will say is that this is my journey. I'm not a medical professional, as you know. I don't necessarily have the scientific data or understand it all even fully myself yet. But what I do know is that this is my journey, and this is how it affects me. So if you are someone with lipedema watching this and your symptoms and your journey isn't quite the same, that's totally fine. And I get that everyone has got their own journey and their own symptoms with it. So I just want to caveat everything I say to say this is just about me. But what I would ask is that if you want to know more, that you look more, and that you search for it, and that you find out more. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about me, my journey, and where I am now, and what is lipedema, just so that you know. I think in other sessions over the month I might come on and talk about how I got my diagnosis, because that's like a miracle in itself, and it's really quite an interesting story. I think I'll talk maybe a different subject about weight loss and lipedema, and some things I've found about weight and lipedema, because the two are linked but very not linked as well, and there needs to be clarity around that. I'd like to talk about my surgery if you're interested to hear about that, because as most of you know, on the Friday of lockdown I was put my out of office on, because on the Sunday I was going into Ninewells to get my first surgery with this, and I'm on hold. So, but I would really like to start talking more about that and sharing my journey, again, just so to share. Knowledge is power. Anyway, I feel like I'm wobbling a bit now, but so this started for me when I was 10 years old. What I'll say is lipedema affects 1 in 10 women. 1 in 10. And you think that's a huge number. I wish actually, maybe I'll do this another day, work out how many women in the world this really affects. Most of you know me and have known me at some point through my life, so you'll have seen me at different stages. I'm now at quite a progressed stage of lipedema. I have it in my back, my lower back, that shelf. Like, I've joked about my shelf throughout all my life, and it turns out it's actually a thing. In fact, when my consultant surgeon told me about that, I burst out laughing, because I'm like, my God, me and my sister have spoken about my shelf my whole life. But that shelf I have along my lower back, I have it in my hips, I have it in my abdomen, I have it in my full legs, I have it in the tops of my arms, and I suspect I have it in other places as well, and I'm learning a bit more about that through my through Talk Lipoedema and some of my contacts there. Talk Lipoedema is a fantastic organisation and charity, which I would definitely recommend you if you're curious, just to get familiar with their page and have a look. So it started for me at age of 10. That's when I hit puberty. It affects women because it's hormone based. So the only way I can describe it, and this, again, I'm not scientific, but it's like a big bang, like it's when your hormones collide, and this can happen to you. So it happened first for me when I was 10, and that's when I started to, lipedema is like a toxic fat that builds in your system, and it's toxic in the way that your body can't get rid of it, so it just accumulates, and it accumulates in certain areas. So for me, the areas I just spoke about. So it happened for me when I was first 10. I would never say I was necessarily a skinny child before that. Like, you know, I mean, I love food. Most of you know this. I love food. So this is where the link between weight and lipedema comes in, and doesn't come in for some people. But so I was never a particularly skinny child, but I certainly noticed the changes when I was 10. And it gradually got worse. Those of you that knew me in school would probably have been witness to, you know, some of the, it's so ironic now because it was classic symptoms, but, you know, I would get called things like thunder thighs and stuff like that. That, unbeknownst to me at that time, that was the lipedema starting. So it started in my legs. And then, sorry, I just thought I'd stopped recording there. And then the next thing that happened to me, so I would say I definitely knew it in my teens that something wasn't right. I knew that I was gaining weight, and I didn't necessarily know why, or not at the rate at which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love food, I've said this, and I loved a drink, especially in my teenage years, so there's definitely, I was putting on weight, but not at the rate in which I put on weight. And then what happened to me, those of you who were with me when I moved to America, you'll know this, when I was, how old would I have been, 23, I moved from Boston to New York. So I left Boston, I had my smear in the May, I think it was, and then I left and went to New York in the October. So between 5 months, when you move doctors in America, you get a full workover. And within 5 months, I had a normal smear that went to an abnormal smear. So I had gynecological surgery in the States at the age of 23. So again, another hormonal big bang, as I would call it. My words, no one else's. And I really started to notice a massive difference after the gynae surgery. And I became really pronounced. So I would say things like my hips really started to gain what I thought was weight. Now I know is lipedema fat. My legs, so not just in my thighs, but particularly in my calves and in my shins. So if you see my legs, and I am going to try and be brave and show you my legs in this month, because again, I just think knowledge is power. It's not a pretty sight, but I just think it's really so important that you can see it for yourself. But so I have very tree trunk legs, very symmetrical legs. There's no definition to them. A classic symptom of lipedema is when you have fat in the inside of your knees, in that calf bit. You shouldn't have fat there. I do. I have cankles. Cankles is another sign of lipedema. So I have almost like, it looks like, see if my hands, it's like cups from my ankles up, although they're getting better. And I'll talk about that in my weight loss chat that I do. But so, and I also have, like I said, the back shelf and my abdomen and things. So those are the symptoms in terms of what I physically look like. In terms of how that manifests itself physically for me, then obviously I have some limitations with mobility. In the last few weeks, you know, you'll know that, well, some of you will know, I've really struggled with walking. I've not been able to bend my left knee at all. I can swell, I can gain and lose 10 pounds in a matter of days. So I experience a lot of swelling. I've been in pain since I was 10. So, and not like unbelievable, can't function pain, but pain every day. That my legs are painful, and it can be in different ways, not just my legs, my arms. I remember you know, when I was younger, you know, when you gave someone a dead arm, that's the way I describe it. Like if anything touches me, I get dead arms or dead legs within seconds, and it doesn't have to be, even sometimes touching me can give me that feeling. It doesn't need to be like a poke in the arm to give me the dead arm. It can be something as simple as brushing my leg up against my covers at night. That can give me pain. So aside from pain, what other symptoms do I get? It's really, I don't know. A lot of ways I block a lot of my symptoms out because you just get on with things, but I would say it's mainly pain, and it's mainly restrictions in mobility. And then there's the whole mental aspect that comes with it. I'm dealing with years and years and years of the things that I say to myself and the things that other people say to me, and mainly it's because people don't know. So they don't know that while I've got some weight issues, and I'll talk about this in another video, it definitely puts you on a spiral of eating emotionally because I don't know what's wrong with me. For years I went to the doctors trying to get help and no one helped me. So there's a definite side to that which I'm not going to discount because it definitely happened for me, but it's years of what's wrong with me. I know something's wrong. Is it me? Is it my fault? It's just a whole mental torture of what is going on, and the not knowing was the hardest part. I was diagnosed 5 years ago by chance, which I'm going to tell you about in a different video because I still am amazed. I still call it, if you're into synchronicities and the universe and all that, it's definitely a story for you. So I'm going to talk about that because I think diagnosis is important. The medical profession and talking about that is important because they don't know. They really don't know. And it's been the biggest shock to me how much they don't know, and how quite often I'm the most informed person in the room. So that's one of the really strong reasons why I feel like I need to talk about this, because we need to become informed and become in control of our own destiny. So if you think this affects you, become informed and know about it, because you could help yourself so much. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought now, but so lipedema affects 1 in 10 women, which is a huge amount, and many of those women don't know. In fact, the vast majority of those women won't know. There's not a huge amount of diagnosis in the UK and worldwide, and even when you do get diagnosed, it can be misdiagnosed, and it can often lead to just more questions. So it's huge. The scale of this is huge. What I would say is that for me, it's just about... Hi, sorry, I lost my train of thought there, so I just paused for a sec, so I'll pick up where I left off there. For me, one of the things you should know is that lipedema, I have a very pronounced case, so those of you that know me will know that I carry a lot of lipedema fat. In fact, I carry 5 stone in lipedema weight that I can't shift. I cannot, it doesn't matter what I do. It will never leave my body. So 5 stone for me, but for some others, this affects women. You can be a size 6 and have lipedema. You can be a size 0 and have lipedema. You can be a size 30 and have lipedema. The biggest thing I want to say is it is not associated with your weight. You may have weight issues associated with it. If, like me, you're an emotional eater and you love food, then you may have some weight associated with lipedema. But if you don't have lipedema, you might have that anyway, and vice versa. You may have lipedema and not have any emotional eating going on, and you may be perfectly healthy, and you may be a size 0 with it. So it's not about weight, it's about understanding how the toxic fat builds up in your body. And if you could, I'm going to show you my legs at some point in the month, but if in the meantime, even if you just looked at pictures of lipedema, because I know people who are really small, slender, slim, and I look at their legs and I can see they have it. So all I would say is, if you could just do, even today, if you could do a search on lipedema and you could have a look at what some of it looks like, that would be amazing. because it might not be you, but guaranteed it will be someone that you know, because it's 1 in 10 women, as I say. So yeah, knowledge is power, and we need to share. So that's a little bit about me today. I think the next session I'll talk to you about my diagnosis and how I got diagnosed. And then as the weeks go on, I'll maybe talk about different topics. If you've got any topics that you'd particularly like me to talk about, maybe you're interested for yourself or someone you know, then drop me a message and I'll do a wee video. Or if you don't want me to do a video about it, we can just chat on DM or whatever. You can phone me, whatever is easier. So thank you for listening. I don't even know why I was so nervous about this, because it's my story, and I just need to talk a bit more about it, don't I, and not be nervous about it. That just goes back to that age-old thing of worrying what people think, when actually it shouldn't matter, because my power is greater than that, because I want to share, because I want, this is my overwhelming goal. I want to help someone who doesn't know, and has been, if I wrote a letter to myself 5 years ago, now, of all the things I know that I wish I'd known then, that's what I've got to share. So anyway, I'm going to sound like a total mission crusader in a minute if I don't stop. So I'm going to stop this video, and I'm going to say thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Please, if you could, either just Google it, understand a bit more about it, look at some pictures, and if you could support me by maybe sharing this journey, or maybe talking about it with someone that you know, then the more we know, we know. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye.